Good evening. These are the headlines.
Tonight on NTV. Parents recount final moments with their children killed in MWINGI crash as driver of the truck involved faces 11 counts of causing death through dangerous driving.
Also tonight, a family in agony. 2 teenage boys from the same family drowned in river Ripingazi in Embu.
And the trucks came calling in Kileleshwa.
Something they just put the cross, yeah? And then all of a sudden today, 3 in the morning, they did the demolition.
Java House, Shell petrol station and several buildings brought down for being on riparian land. The owners say they had all the legal documentation for the buildings.
Also tonight, the last of the 11 rhinos translocated to Savo dies from lion attack injuries.
NTV Tonight with Dennis Okari and Olive Burrows.
For joining us, our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agundoa. And as always, you can watch us online on Facebook, that is NTV Kenya. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, Facebook Kenya.
Well, some parents of the victims of the accident that happened at Kangiga near MWINGI town have faulted the school management for proceeding with the journey after dark.
The parents have asked the involved parties to speed up the legalities to allow them to give their children a dignified send-off. Charity Mwangi tells us more.
Anisia Wawera is inconsolable after having lost her only child Vivian Wakeo in the late Saturday accident that claimed the lives of 10 pupils of St. Gabriel Boarding Primary School.
I'll make sure I give you good marks so that you can pay for me. Kamwambia sawa. Kisha 380 takulipia. So akija midterm, the first thing anambia nikienda kumpiki shule. Nimefikisha mama mtanilipia trip.
Wakio had categorically informed her mother that she will be on the school bus and not the rented bus that was involved in the accident. This gave her mother hope, temporarily so.
Akachani anaenda Vivian is in ICU. So she's alive. Let us go to pray. Vivian was in great pain. And so she has left us.
Wawera is a teacher and understands very well the laid out policies by the Ministry of Education with regards to acceptable times for travel.
We are still wishing that. We wish they followed that. Wakaya hata kama ni wako wamefikia 6 wakakuta the following day.
She could not bring herself to get close to the scene of the accident, but relied on her fellow teachers to follow up on the whereabouts of her daughter. Eunice Malonza also sensed that all was not well even before word of the accident reached her.
Nilisikia mwili umeisha nguvu kabisa. Sasa nikamuuliza baba watoto, mimi nasikia kutoka hapa hivi kuteremka sina nguvu.
Her husband laments of the school's poor judgment that put the pupils in danger.
Hiyo ngari kifikisha saa 12 kamili, ngari isimame hata kwa ni police station iko karibu. Isimame hapo tu. Ilale watoto hata kwa ni njaa iwezi ikaua watoto na siku moja kusema ukweli.
Though Wawera has been left childless while the Malonzas have their 3 sons to console them, both families struggle to accept the events of that tragic night, saying that the gap left behind is too huge to fill.
Kama tulichagua mashule. Sasa nilichagua ndio kuniambia ni kama nasikia mimi nikipenda Mary Hill. Na sijui nisikia kama naipenda na nikaenda nikaambia teacher. Nikifikisha 400 mimi nataka kwenda Mary usiku ichagua. Teacher akamwambia nikipata hizo hata ukipata 38 and above nitaenda kukutafutia huko.
Kimasomo alikuwa mzuri, hata ukiuliza walimu atakwambia mtoto wangu alikuwa mzuri sana. Alikuwa ndamtarajia mpaka nikamwekea pesa nijue akifanya mtihani ya standard kwa maana nilikuwa najua hataitwa shule nzuri.
Most of the grieving families are yet to conclude on burial arrangements for their children. At the school, plans are underway for a requiem mass scheduled for Wednesday, even as they continue to prepare the families for a post-mortem exercise scheduled tomorrow. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Joseph and Margaret Musyoka lost 2 of their children in the Saturday night accident that claimed the lives of 10 pupils along the Thika-Garissa highway.
14-year-old Kasioka Mundithia and 13-year-old James Mundithia from St. Gabriel Academy in MWINGI were traveling alongside their classmates, and they were coming from a school trip in Mombasa. And Sharon Bronga gives us more details on this story.
A somber mood engulfs James Musyoka's home in MWINGI town. Family and friends reached out to condole with a family that was hit twice following the Saturday night accident. This family lost 2 children, a 14-year-old girl, Kasioka Munithia, and 13-year-old James Munithia. They were traveling with their classmates and teachers from Mombasa to their school in MWINGI. The 2 were among the 10 children from St. Gabriel Academy who perished in the accident.
We had a lot of expectation towards those kids because they are kids who were very much responsible here at home.
Kasioka and James were Class 8 candidates preparing to sit their KCPE exams later this year.
The boy was telling me he's going to become a structural engineer in aviation line. When I also interacted with the girl, he was telling me he will be a journalist.
A section of leaders are blaming the accident on a contractor tasked with repairing the Thika-Garissa highway.
We have already begged them to put more bulbs in that, to erect more bulbs in that road. So we will be visiting the site, and I can tell you the accident could have been avoided.
Basi kama hiyo ya shule ni vizuri kuwe na drivers wawili. Ndio driver mmoja kuendesha gari kutoka Mombasa. Hiyo masaa yote kufika MWINGI, jamani ingekuwa na wawili.
The driver of the lorry involved in the accident, Abdallah Hassan, appeared before Senior Principal Magistrate Kibet Sambu at the MWINGI Law Courts today, facing charges of causing death by dangerous driving. Hassan pleaded not guilty and was released on a cash bail of 1 million shillings. The case will be mentioned on the 20th of August 2018. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
Well, there's at least good news on this side of the country. The heroic team, the Kenyan team that topped the medal standings at the 21st Africa Athletics Championships in Asaba, Nigeria, have arrived back home. So those are the live pictures you're seeing there. They've just arrived, and the athletes will be hosted later on tomorrow, I think.
Will be hosted to a dinner by Athletics Kenya and the Ministry of Sports and Heritage. They bagged 19 medals, including 11 gold, 6 silver and 2 bronze.
Well, Warothe Kiru is our reporter at the airport. We hope to be talking to him at some point there. You can see them, the pictures. They are arriving there. So, Warothe Kiru, you are at the airport. We know. What do you have for us? We can see the athletes are arriving, receiving bouquets of flowers.
Warothe? Well, there seems to be quite a bit of activity there at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Kenya made a strong showing in Nigeria, like we said. They won 19 medals, 11 gold, 6 silver and 2 bronze. The Kenyan gold medalists were Helen Obiri in the 5,000 meters, Conselas Kipruto in the 3,000 meters steeplechase, Samuel Gadhimba in the 20-kilometer walk. There is also, of course, Julius Yego in javelin. He keeps performing very well in that category. There was Elijah Manangoi in the 1,500 meters, Winnie Chebet in the 1,500 meters as well, Edward Zakayo in the 5,000 meters, Beatrice Chepkoech in the 3,000 meter steeplechase, Matthew Sawe in the high jump, Stacey Ndiwa in the 10,000 meters, and the men's 4x400 meters relay team.
It's indeed a true Kenyan spirit of resilience and the sterling performance they had there. Let's just listen into the sounds coming from the airport as they arrive.
To be quite a bit of activity at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Hopefully we'll be able to join Awaro there later on. He's standing by live receiving our heroes. And of course, congratulations to Conseslus Kipruto, who won in the 3,000 meter steeplechase, Helen Obiri, who won in the 5,000 meters, Samuel Gadhimba, who won in the 20-kilometer walk, Julia Siego in javelin, Elijah Manangoi in the 1,500 meters, Winnie Chebet in the 1,500 meters.
We also had Edward Zakayo, who won the 5,000 meters, Beatrice Chepkoech in 3,000 meters steeplechase, which is very characteristic of Kenyan athletes. Also Matthew Sawe in the high jump, Stacey Ndiwa in 10,000, and the men's 4x4 meters relay team. Kenyans making us proud, and their signature arrival at the airport. We can't be any prouder than that.
And we wish them a hearty congratulations from NTV.
Let's move on to another story now. The search for two boys in Embu County who had been reported to have drowned in River Rupingazi is still ongoing.
Alex Mwenda, a Class 8 student, and Emmanuel Murimi, a Form 3 student, are said to have gone for an adventure by the river yesterday afternoon after church, but failed to return home.
Efforts of the family to inquire about their whereabouts yielded little, and their clothes and bicycles were found today on the banks of the river Rupingazi. And Kemio Assistant Chief Samuel Njagi said that they are doing all they can to find the boys, and that they have contacted a rescue team to help search for the bodies.
Njagi further cautioned parents to monitor the children during the holidays to ensure their safety. Well, the last surviving black rhino that had been translocated to the Savo East National Park has died from injuries inflicted by a lion attack.
The death of the rhino now means KWS has lost all the animals that had been translocated.
A statement sent to newsrooms by KWS Communications Director Paul Udoto says the last rhino died from injuries sustained in a lion attack. The rhino's condition got worse over the weekend. A probe team is looking into the death of the previous 10, revealed that the rhinos died from multiple stress syndrome triggered by uptake of saline water, which caused acute dehydration.
The report by a 6-member inquiry team led to the suspension of 6 KWS officers over negligence, a move the Kenya Veterinary Association has termed as escapist.
They want Tourism CS Najib Balala to resign over the botched translocation.
Well, back to our story. Our hero is coming back home, and we were trying to get a hold of Orotha Kiru there, and there's a lot of activity going on there, and it's a heroic welcome for these athletes. The president has tweeted about it, the deputy president, several other people have been tweeting about this. So let's just join Orotha Kiru at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Orotha.
Okari, as you said, it is a heroic welcome. There is a lot of activity happening right now. But very quickly, I'm joined by someone who's won everything there is to win in 3,000 meters. And I'm talking about Conseslus Kipruto, who now finally is a 3,000 meters steeplechase champion in Africa. And Conseslus, habari yako?
Niko salama sana.
Mbio zilikuwa vipi?
Mbio zilikuwa poa. Tulienda huko na tukafanya kenye tulikuwa tumeahidi wa Kenya kabla siku yenye tuliondoka injini. Sasa kenye nilifurahia sasa hasa mimi kuepuka kwa hiyo ushindi ya mita 3 kuruka maji ni viunzi. Nilifurahia sana, na hiyo ndo taabu kenye nilikuwa nimekosa kwa orodha zangu kenye sote zenye niko nazo. Sasa nafurahia kukuwa na hii tena ya Afrika. Sasa hiyo ndo yenye nilikuwa na miss tu hiyo. Sasa kenye nafurahia tena kujukua kwa ujumla kwa Kiafrika. Kwa sasa tulifurahia tena kukuwa na dhahabu 10. Hiyo ndo tulifurahia sana, kila mtu tulienda kwa tukajikaza. Sasa kila mtu alijikaza, hiyo ndo tunafurahia sana.
Conseslus, kabla mfike pale kulikuwa na ile shida ya usafiri, mlienda kwenye airport siku 2 siku 3, ilikuwa vipi?
Ya tulipata hiyo matatizo, but kenye kama hasa mimi huwa tunasema ya kwamba tukipata matatizo tukienda mahali tunavumilia, lakini tujue ya kwamba ni nini ilikuwa tunaendea kule Nigeria. Kenya ilitubeba kule Nigeria ni sisi twende tukimbilie nchi yetu, tuwaonyeshe ya kwamba sisi kama Wakenya tukiwa wakimbiaji tunatoka wapi. Sasa tuliwajana na hiyo matatizo sote, to ilikuwa mbaya, hatukupokewa benye tulikuwa tunafikiria, but sasa tuliwajana na hizo, but walitusaidia sana, tukafurahia. Alafu Kenya sisi kama sisi wa Kenya tukaongea, tukasema Kenya tunataka tujue tulikuwa tunakuja kukimbia na watu, tuishinde, tuonyeshe ya kwamba kama tuliteseka tunaifuka kwa hii shindi.
Asante sana Conseslus na kila la heri. That was Conseslus Kipruto. I will just try and grab one more person before we hand it back to you. And which is Chepkoech is actually one of the athletes who did very well in the 3,000 meter steeplechase, led the sweep of the 3,000 meter steeplechase. And I'm just trying to get her before she goes away from me. Just she led a clean sweep in 3,000 meter steeplechase. And kabla labda tuzungumze na British Chepkoech, habari ya leo.
Salama ndugu yangu. Asante sana.
Wewe ni baba yake nani?
Mimi ni baba yake Chepkoech.
And we have the father to British Chepkoech as we try to get
nashukuru Mungu bwana. Nashukuru Mungu kwa sababu yeye ndio mwenye uwezo, ambaye ameongoza mpaka amerudisha, amepatia ushindi. Mungu ndio mambo yote. Tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu.
Aliongoza Wakenya kupata medali ya kwanza, ya pili na ya tatu. Ulihisi vipi?
Mimi nilifurahia sana. Hata wakati walikuwa nakimbia, machozi yalitiririka mbaya sana. Bila kusikia. Nami nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu, ambaye yeye ndio mwenye uwezo, ambaye yeye ndio mwenye uhai wetu. Asante. Mungu asiti kubariki na kuongoza, na bariki nchi yetu na wakubwa wetu.
Mzee tu labda tu tukimalizia tu, Beatrice akifanya vyema kwenye riadha inasaidia vipi jamii yako labda?
Jamii yangu wanafurahia sana, wanakuwa na sifa mzuri sana kwake, hasa nyumbani katika village yetu, kaunti yetu, watu wanafurahia sana, watu wanapenda sana hii.
Asante sana. And there you have it. That is the joy of a parent. And now I have Beatrice Chepkoech, who is a record holder for 3,000 meters steeplechase, and she led a Kenyan 1-2-3 alongside Seflin Chespol and Fanis Cherono. And Chepkoech, habari ya leo?
Mzuri sana.
Mbio zilikuwa vipi?
Mbio ilikuwa mzuri.
Ulihisiaje kuchukua ile 1-2-3?
Nilifurahi sana juu sikuwa natarajia tuko wote kwa podium.
Ulivunja rekodi tu hivi majuzi, sasa umeenda barani Afrika, umekuwa bingwa. Ukiangalia mbele unataka kufanya nini?
Hapo mbeleni najiandaa kwenda kukimbia final Diamond League, alafu naenda kukimbia World Cup, naenda kudefend country yetu.
Sasa kila la heri na hongera sana. There you have it. That is Beatrice Chepkoech, 3,000 meters steeplechase world record holder and now an African champion in the race. And she led a Kenyan 1-2-3. You've heard from her father the joy of a parent, and that is what it means. All of us as Kenyans do enjoy, do celebrate our athletes, but closer home, this comes right to the villages. A lot of people have come from across the country just to celebrate these athletes who topped the African standings. They got a total of 19 medals. 11 of them were gold. It was a super Sunday where Kenya got 6 gold medals on Sunday. That was yesterday, and that was a brilliant thing to do. And after this celebration, there shall be a dinner hosted by AK and the Ministry of Sports. I will be covering that. But for right now, back to you in studio.
A feel-good story there. We had Warode at the JKIA speaking to some of our athletes, including a name that I find a tongue twister, Conseslus. Yes, Conseslus Kipruto. Other medalists are Emmanuel Korir in the 800 meters, Grace Wanjiru in the women's walk, Timothy Cheriot in the 1,500 meters, Selifine Chespol in the 3,000 meters steeplechase, Alice Aprot in the 10,000 meters, and women's 4x400 meters relay bagged silver, while Fancy Cherono in the 3,000 meters steeplechase and the women's 4x100 meters relay team settled for bronze.
Well, I don't recall saying we're sick there.
Perhaps there was.
I didn't say that, and it's that's one of the simple things you'll always say there.
Soliciting some sick from there.
Well, at least good news, despite the drama that they had, being stranded at the airport together with other 19 countries, and this is because Nigeria was saying they had not anticipated huge numbers of people that were going to jet in at the same time. So the arrival was there's just too much drama. And to quote one of the athletes who said, kulikuwa na matatizo, hawakupokelewa vyema, but they're now back at home.
But
so let's
said the walijikaza.
Yes. Let's move on now. More buildings in Nairobi are set to be demolished in the coming days as the National Environment Management Authority says the exercise is meant to clear the Nairobi River and its tributaries of illegal structures.
But the affected businesses have protested the move, saying they have complied with all relevant laws prior to any construction. NTV's Zainab Ismail with that story.
This was the situation Monday morning at the Shell petrol station and Java House outlets in the Market Kileleshwa estate in Nairobi, following demolitions sanctioned by the National Environment Management Authority. According to NEMA, the establishments were brought down for encroaching on riparian land and being on a road reserve. Also pulled down in the 5 a.m. operation was several billboards and kiosks.
We're coming 3 a.m. in the morning to demolish, and even we don't give people time to collect their things. Of course, me myself, actually, I'm very bitter because if you look at my other tenants, like Java, Shell, they rescued their things. You see me, I was not even given the chance, I was told to step aside and they start on the Bomo Ativo.
The authority says it gave the owners a 3-month notice and extended it by a week, but the same was ignored. In a statement sent to newsrooms, NEMA said, and I quote, "We urge those who have encroached on the riparian reserves in contravention of the Environment Management and Coordination Act to move back to the legal setback distance stipulated in the law or as stated as a condition in the EIA license where this has been issued."
Generally what we want our Nairobi is an international city. We want to keep that international status. So then we have to organize ourselves. Whatever we are doing now is organizing ourselves. We want to make Nairobi better than it is.
However, Vivo Energy, the company that distributes Shell-branded fuels and lubricants to Shell petrol stations, says the structures were put up legally. A Vivo statement reads, and I quote, "When we construct service stations and other structures therein, we seek all the relevant approvals from all concerned government authorities and comply with all conditions set by the authorities before we construct." Article 62 of the Constitution says all rivers, lakes as defined by an Act of Parliament and all land between high and low water marks are public land. The exercise to bring down the structures has been inherited from the former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero.
Zile nyumba ambazo zimejengwa kwa mto, hizo hatuwezi kubaliwa, ziwe nzuri, ziwe mbaya, zitavunjwa.
The move is likely to send shockwaves among prominent individuals accused of erecting multi-billion-story buildings on riparian land. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
Now here's an interesting one. Do you use a matatu to get into Nairobi's central business district? Do you use? I do that sometimes.
Yes. The bus, not a matatu.
The bus?
Yes.
Sometimes I do matatus, but if you do, then you should brace yourself for possible protest and difficult movement into town from tomorrow.
And that's because only 2 matatus per sacco per route will be allowed into the CBD. According to the Nairobi County Director of Operations, Peter Mbaya, each vehicle will only be granted 5 minutes in the allocated slots to drop and pick passengers.
Whoever fails to comply will risk being arrested and the vehicle will also be impounded. The county government says all other matatus will be parked at designated terminal outside the CBD. The move is likely to face resistance from the matatu operators.
Illegal stages kuondoa kesho. Tumezungumza sisi wote including my chief officer na tumeonelea hiyo kwa vile hata sisi wenyewe we are not very familiar ni stage gani ziko illegal na ni gani legal for the time being until tuwe na watu ya city engineer. City engineer ndio upeana slots za parking. Na hao ndio wanabarua ndio wanaweza jua this is a genuine one and this is not a genuine one. But for the time being what we shall enforce is those 2 vehicles at a time or in one slot.
As it was stated, that move is likely to attract protests from matatu operators. We'd like to hear whether it will attract protests from you, and you can share your thoughts on NTV Kenya, that is on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. We take a short break now, but we'll be back shortly with more stories.
Welcome back. Justice Kulo Mohammed Noor allowed enjoyment of Friends of Mao in a narrow case filed against the eviction of settlers from Masai Maru forest.
The constitutional petition case was presented to the Environment and Lands Court by the Kericho Governor, Paul Chepkwony, who wants the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, together with 7 others, to stop part of the Masai Mao evictions. Security was beefed up in and outside the court.
Councillor Humphrey Mayange, who represented Governor Chepkwony, had earlier objected to inclusion of Friends of Mao in the case, including the Narrow County government, arguing that the move had a sinister motive.
Well known in the world of entertainment, David Muthengi, popularly known as Holy Dave, and his sister Joey Muthengi come from a family of scholars, and it is not surprising that they have immersed themselves into the world of academia.
Through the Muthengi Foundation, the learning experience of pupils across the country has been transformed. NTV's Sharon Baranga begins this week's United Nations Youth Week-inspired series of stories about young people impacting the society for good.
He wears many hats.
My name is David Muthengi, otherwise known as Holy Dave. People know me as a musician and TV host, but I guess people don't know this other side about me. I'm an investment analyst, trained with like 6 years experience as an investment analyst. Nowadays I'm lucky enough to be a part-time lecturer. And the work that I started with my sister Joey Muthengi, we co-founded the Muthengi Foundation, which is a non-profit registered charity organization in Kenya. And we raise support. We basically use our influence to raise support for education-related needs in society.
And so in 2015, the Muthengi Foundation was registered. Improving the quality of life of needy learners was their main goal.
The government provides free primary education. You know, you can't go to school when you don't have uniforms. You can't go to school when you don't have electricity at home. You're going to have to wake up early to use the first rays of the sun to do your homework at school, which makes the evening for you unproductive time because you can't study.
Be the Light initiative is one of their projects that distributes solar lamps to needy children in rural areas of Kenya. This ensures learning does not stop and that children can still work on their homework.
We hope to reach 1,000 lamps because one retails at around 3,000 shillings.
David is also a board member of the Ficha Uchi initiative, one that distributes school uniforms to needy pupils. As of now, the initiative has managed to raise 3,800 uniforms given to pupils from 38 schools in different counties. They have a target of getting to 10,000 uniforms.
Our founder is Billion Okotho Jiwa. Billion started by taking 5 uniforms to his former primary school in Mathare. And from that, he made it a personal agenda to take 100 uniforms to each school. And that's when we connected in late 2015, early 2016.
And there are misconceptions that they've had to deal with.
Once you start an initiative or a foundation, people think that, you know, you're just trying to tap money from people in the West, or, you know, you're just trying to eat from it. Another thing is people in society think foundations are for rich people. People are asking, you have a foundation? Okay. So that means you guys are wealthy and you're just giving towards the bank account. And that's not the case.
With this, I seek to inquire what exactly drives them.
I say that we're not in the business of charity. We're in the business of creating smiles. When you take uniforms to schools and you leave kids smiling because now they can lift up their hand in class and this area is not torn, so people are not laughing at them, that's my joy.
A parting shot to those who want to run a non-profit initiative.
Treat it like a business with the same amount of seriousness. Don't just say, oh, ni charity. It's charity. Yeah, we'll do it over the weekend.
Sharon Baranga, NTV.
Well, that's brother and sister doing very, very big things. Do you know Holy Dave?
Yes, I do. We're in Compass together.
Oh,
yes,
really?
Yes.
So you know he still raps?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. I actually grew up also listening to him. I still listen to his songs. He's got great songs, some of his rap songs.
So do you know some of the rhymes, some of his rhymes?
Oh, of course, I do.
Yes,
There's actually
like?
a song he's done called It's Not a Joke. That more or less the lyrics speak of what he's currently doing. He says something like, growing up, I was ambitious and had big dreams. Out of high school, so fresh, so clean. CEO, MD, MP. Believe it or not, I even thought I'd be a president.
Not bad, not bad. Well, this whole week we'll be covering youth matters. We'll be bringing more inspirational youth stories, people who are transforming lives within their circles. On Sunday is the International Youth Day. So in the run-up to that, you definitely want to keep it NTV. And on that note, keep it NTV. We're taking a short break, but we'll be back.
Good evening, and sticking with the rhymes, I'm not done with business, but I'm done with business. Get it when you can. Now, Safaricom's Chief Executive Officer, that's Bob Collymore, appeared before the National Assembly's ICT Committee to defend Safaricom against claims of market dominance, making his first public appearance since going on leave 9 months ago. Collymore argued that the firm should not be singled out for punishment because of its success, adding that the move will create an artificial competitive landscape that rewards the Safaricom's competitors and disadvantages its customers. The telcos operators had sought to declare Safaricom dominant, saying that it enjoys a dominant position because it accounts for 90% of revenues in areas such as voice calls and text messages. Collymore resumed work Monday after a 9-month sick leave. Now, cross-border trade between Kenya and Tanzania was today halted for nearly 6 hours, with local merchants complaining over mistreatment. The protest broke out in Ilbisil along Namanga Road after Kenyan traders complained over mistreatment by Tanzanian authorities. Laban Cliff Onsero reports on this incident that blots milestones towards a common East African market.
This has been the unsettling situation along the Namanga Highway from the break of dawn, with protesters complaining of a mistreatment. Kenyan cross-border traders who ship their goods to neighboring Tanzania say their colleagues were arrested on Saturday upon arrival in unclear circumstances and are in custody in the neighboring country.
Tukienda jana wanatuambia nini mkipata tena wa madereva mtuite sisi watoto. Sasa sisi Kenya sisi tunataka siku wa leo tunataka madereva wetu tuambie wako wapi na tunataka hatutoki ama mpaka tuletewe.
The effects of this standoff were visible. This is what befell trucks transporting goods between Kenya and Tanzania, stuck in the traffic for hours, leading to losses of mostly perishable agricultural goods being transported.
Kwa nini wao wanataka kulete vitu zao hapa na wao hawataki tulete vitu, tupeleke vitu za Kenya huko? Kwa nini? Why?
Police had a difficult time dispersing the crowds and called for patience as the spate is addressed. Trade tension has built up between Kenya and Tanzania in the past few months, with authorities accused of unwillingness to resolve the problem despite presidential directives to do so. In the recently held Kenya Trade Week conference, the government cautioned traders against illicit trade with neighbors as it emerged that some either exported substandard goods and some used improper documentation to clear the goods at border points. Laban Clifonserio, NTV Business.
The government has increased its allocation of tenders to the youth and the disabled in this financial year by more than 200% to 200 billion shillings as it strives to meet the constitutional requirement of at least 30%. Victor Kiprop reports.
More than 3 years since the passing of the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act of 2015, requiring at least 30% of all supply contracts to the government to be awarded to the youth, persons with disability and women, the country is still struggling to meet this target. In the current 2018-2019 financial year, the government now says it has lined up some 200 billion shillings for these special groups, which it says are at the center of its signature Big Four agenda.
When we are talking about the Big Four, we are targeting 4 million young people with opportunity. It is you to position yourself.
The current allocation is 136 billion shillings, more than the 58,000 tenders worth 64 billion shillings awarded in the 2017-2018 financial year.
Whether we are talking about food security, whether we are talking about universal health care coverage, or we are talking about our housing program, or manufacturing, the opportunity that exists more than for any other set of Kenyans is the opportunity for the young people.
According to the 2016 Kenya Youth Survey by Aga Khan University, nearly 80% of Kenya's population is under the age of 35. However, women, youth and disabled persons took up only a meager 6% of the access to government procurement opportunities AGPO contracts in 2017.
Countries are supposed to demonstrate to what extent are we creating safe spaces in our context for the youth to be able to develop to their full potential and become a productive member of the community, a productive member of the nation.
In recent years, Kenya has rolled out several projects focusing on improving access to opportunities and resources to disadvantaged groups, including the Youth Enterprise Fund, Ways of Fund, and Women Enterprise Development Fund. But the institutions have since been rocked by huge corruption scandals that have seen their funding allocations slashed by Parliament and a proposal to merge them floated. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business.
The unity of East African states when it comes to trading with the United States of America has been put to the test after Rwanda was left to implement the ban on mitumba alone and has been suspended from accessing the U.S. market through the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA. Now, in 2016, the EAC heads of state came up with a plan to ban mitumba imports, but all the countries except Rwanda withdrew from the plan after the U.S. threatened serious consequences. Alex MWINGI delved into the current state of AGOA and what Kenya needs to do to take full advantage of it.
In recent weeks, the United States has taken on a tough stance as far as tariffs with some of its largest trading partners such as China and the European Union are concerned. This move has put the global economy, which has been on a healthy recovery path this year, on edge.
The world economy seems to be in a good place. There are also risks that the global economy is running, as we know. And those risks are significant, but they haven't yet materialized. So, for instance, the issue of the trade wars, you could say that they are still in round one, and we hope that the war will cease quickly, because there won't be any winners in trade wars. Everybody loses.
Following Rwanda's move to raise tariffs on the import of second-hand clothes, the US has suspended the East African nation from the benefits associated with the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA. Kenya seems to have developed cold feet towards the ban on mitumba, given the devastating consequences a suspension from AGOA would have on its economy. Last year, Kenya exported goods valued at 32.8 billion shillings through AGOA. Over the last 5 years, that figure peaked at 35.2 billion shillings in 2015. About 44,000 Kenyans are currently employed as a result of AGOA.
I know that in terms of Kenya's use of the AGOA strategy, that more can be done in order to take advantage of the preferential trade arrangement that AGOA establishes.
According to the National AGOA Committee, Kenya's exploitation of the duty-free window is still hampered by a lack of market knowledge, failure to comply with the required standards, the high cost of doing business, as well as quality constraints.
AGOA will expire in 2025, and that gives a very short window, and we see direct flights status as being an opportunity for Kenya to increase the number of exports and to take advantage of the AGOA preference program.
Currently, it takes an average of 135 days to deliver goods to US buyers from the time an order is placed in Kenya. Compare that with the 45 days it takes for China to deliver its orders. Besides enhancing its level of competitiveness, Kenya also needs to prepare for the future if it is to safeguard its apparel and textile manufacturing entities.
Countries that begin to negotiate with the US government on other trade arrangements are likely to stand to benefit. And we're not sure what form a trade arrangement could take. And so taking advantage of AGOA while it exists, and also positioning the country for a longer term trade strategy, I think is really important.
Kenya ranks among the top suppliers of apparel to the US, but in a rapidly evolving global economy, that should provide no room for it to rest on its laurels. Alex MWINGI, NTV.
Small and medium-sized enterprises are now expected to have an at least annual turnover of between 50 million shillings and 1 billion shillings to participate in the top 100 mid-sized company survey. Nation Media Group and audit firm KPMG say they lowered the threshold to attract more participants. The survey seeks to identify and recognize the country's fastest growing medium-sized companies and celebrate some of the most outstanding entrepreneurs, and the results will be announced on the 23rd of November.
The medium enterprises contribute about 787,000 jobs to Kenyan economy, whilst the micro and small enterprises contribute the bulk of that of employment at about 14.9 million employees.
The top 100 mid-sized companies provides an opportunity for us to benchmark, to compare the various organizations, and it creates an opportunity for the medium-sized companies to benchmark themselves and see which areas they can improve on.
On that note, we apologize for the mix-up of names. Josephat More is the CEO of KPMG and Stephen Gitagama is the CEO of Nation Media Group. At that point, business, myself, both done. Good night.
Wase, hii bill ni yangu. Nimeuza shipment mzima in one day. So I'm paying for this. Hey.
Guys, let me pay this, Just finish my online degree.
Haya.
Guys, nimeacha job yangu leo. Because I'm starting my own business tomorrow.
Good job.
Good job.
Good job. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
USIU Africa offers market-relevant degree programs tailored for you. The new BA Animation, BA Film Production and Directing, BSc Epidemiology and Biostatistics, and MA Marriage and Family Therapy. Apply now at www.usiu.ac.ke/apply. USIU Africa. Education to take you places.
Niaje mtu wangu? Karibuni. Nataka kilo 16, sawa? 16. Yes, choma 8. Boilo zikuwe 4 na hiyo nyingine 4 fry, sawa? Sasa. Kaeni chini dakika moja.
Pata mkopo wa haraka kupitia HF Wiz. Njia mpya, rahisi na haraka ya benki kutoka HFC.
Unaniangusha bwana. Acha wasiwasi. Ikuje na nini? Kachumbari.
Waweza pia kununua bidhaa, airtime, kuweka hazina na kutuma pesa kutoka simu yako ya mkononi.
Of Kidongu area, Taveta sub-county blocked the Taveta-Gishare road, protesting delayed compensation for losses incurred after their houses were destroyed by explosives used during the construction of the Mwatate-Taveta highway.
NTV's Taita Taveta correspondent Bill Otieno with the details.
Angry residents whose farms borders Taveta and Gishare farm came out in large numbers to demonstrate over failure by Chinese road company contracted to tarmac new Mwatate Taveta Holili Road. The residents complain of crack on the walls of their houses, schools and church caused by the powerful explosion experienced during the construction.
Hiyo vitu waliosema walilipua, pia nyumba zetu zikaharibika. Wale waliofuatilia watoto wetu wakafuatilia kwa uzuri na wakaweka maagano wa kusema watatengeneza. Tumengoja, tumechoka, nyumba twalala nje kabisa. Tumejenga nyumba zetu kupasuka hata nje, mtu akienda atakuta kweli mtu amesha repair kwa saa hii mvua atajua kweli nyumba zimesha. Mlikuwa mnastudiwa mpaka utumbo nasikia hata kuna.
An assessment of damaged houses was carried out by an insurance company from Mombasa to have them paid, but nothing has been done so far.
Na wakati mchina alivyokuja kama vile mwingine amesema, alisema anajua kwamba kuna hasara itakayotokea na atafidia mwisho. Sisi tukavumilia, tukangojea. Tulipoona anaondoka tukaanza kuwafuatilia. Tukiwafuatilia tunaambiwa pesa imepeanwa kwa watu wa insurance. Mimi mwenyewe nimetumwa na hawa waathirika wa hizi wa nyumba. Mombasa nimeenda mara 4. Kuna bwana mmoja kwa hiyo ofisi anaitwa Bwana Halan. Akatuambia kwamba watu waandike, alitumwa na Mchina. Alipokuja akafanya assessment, akaangalia kila kitu, akatuambia watu waandike quotation wapeleke pale. Ndizo tulipeleka. Baada ya kupeleka tukifuatilia anatuambia anatumana Nairobi. Alafu zilirudishwa kwa ofisi yake mpaka leo hii.
They've urged the government to fast track the compensation because of huge losses they have incurred. Bill Otieno, NTV, Taveta.
We take a break, but Brian Oswald will be back with the sports news.
javelin, Elijah Manangoi in 1500 meters, Winnie Chebet in 1500 meters, Edward Zakayo in 5000 meters, Beatrice Chepkoech in 3000 meters steeplechase, Matthew Sawe in high jump, Stacy Ndiwa in 10,000 meters, and the men's 4x400 meters relays team. Emmanuel Korir in 800 meters, Grace Wanjiru in women's 2-kilometer race walk, Timothy Cheriot in 1500 meters self-in-chase, Paul in 3,000 meters steeplechase, Alice Aprot in 10,000 meters and women's 4x400 relay bagged silver, while Fancy Cherono in 3,000 meters steeplechase and women's 4x100 meters relay team settled for bronze. Those are the pictures earlier when the team arrived. Moving on, the Parliamentary Committee on Sports has expressed dissatisfaction in the slow construction progress of Rirungi Stadium in Nyeri, noting that some risk stalling. The committee that inspected the stadium in Nyeri lamented that the slow progress was owed to the delay in funding from the National Treasury. Works at the grounds are less than 30% complete, with only 8% funding a year later. Other stadia that have experienced funding issues, according to the committee, include Nyayo Stadium, Wote Stadium, Kipchoge Keino, Cameroon Stadium in Elgeyo Marakwet, and Marsabit Stadium. The committee that has been inspecting construction works in the facilities over the last 2 months will continue with the inspection, with Eldoret's Kipchoge Keino their next stop.
It is interesting to note that the President launched this project last year, and it was supposed to be complete in 6 months. Now it is 1 year later. So we don't want to declare this project stalled, because it appears actually it is stalled, and together with many others. Here Marsabit, there is a problem. Water, there is a problem. Kipchoge Keino, there is a problem. Cameroon, there is a problem. So unless the government acts fast, these projects are going to be stalled projects.
Reigning champions Gor Mahia still remain top of the Kenyan Premier League standings, despite being held to their 5th draw of the season by fast rising Nakumatt FC over the weekend as the league entered match day 25. With the point, Gor Mahia are now 13 points clear of second placed Sofapaka with 56 points, still with 3 matches at hand. But Toto Bamungu overpowered Ulinzi Stars to maintain their chase for a second place finish on the log. Coast side Bandari are third, a point behind Sofapaka, but tied on points with AFC Leopards on 42 points. Ulinzi Stars complete the top 5 with 38 points. At the bottom half, Wazito's 0-0 draw with Nzoia Sugar increased their chances of relegation as they lie bottom on 20 points, tied on points with Thika United in position 17. Vihiga United are 16th on 23 points, as Chemelil Sugar lie 15th on 27 points. Zoo and Nakumatt are tied on 29 points each at position 14 and 13 respectively. And Okari in a Skoda Fabia emerged as the winner of the Chloride Exide-sponsored hill climb in Naivasha. Rai is in a rich vein of form, having recently won the Nakuru Rally in the first round of the 2018 Kenya National Rally Championship. Veteran Ian Duncan in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10 placed second, with Okari's younger brother Tejvir Rai third. Shivan Vinayak continued with his winning ways by clinching victory in the bike category after finishing 4th overall. The event, the first over 3-leg series, was organized by the Rift Valley Motorsport and attracted 49 entries. To Opich Pacho, Kisumu outfit Kabonyo Kanyagwal emerged as the champions of the first ever Opich Pacho Mpira Mashinani tournament. The 3-week tournament, organized by the Kisumu County Government in partnership with Kenya Breweries Limited, has been lauded for nurturing footballing talent in the region.
Nimefurahia sana kama Kabonyo Kanyagwal is a team. Chenye naweza sema kwa wenye walisponsor the team, wamefanya kazi nzuri kwa youths wenye wana kazi huko nje.
We've gone down to the 35 wards in Kisumu, within the 7 sub-counties that make up Kisumu County, and we got football clubs to come up to Kisumu to play for this prestigious Opich Pacho tournament. It has done a few things. It has allowed camaraderie between residents, between players. It's allowed a competitive spirit to come out, positive energy as people compete for this amazing grand prize of 300,000. And it's also allowed the residents to look back and say, actually, we've always been very good sportsmen. We've never had the platform.
Congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to all those who have participated, but you only get one winner. As KBL, we have just started Opich Pacho, and it is here to stay with us. We are supposed to build it and then make it bigger in future.
And new Barcelona signing Arturo Vidal says he is stepping up a level in his career and is intent on winning the Champions League 3 times over his 3-year deal with Barcelona. The La Liga champions signed the 31-year-old Chile midfielder from Bayern Munich for a reported fee which could